I'm Ben Smith with AFCEA. Note that our speakers this afternoon will be accepting questions from the audience today, time permitting. There's a microphone in the back of the room. At the appropriate time, the audiences will be invited to ask questions. Please wait to be recognized before asking your question. Our speaker today is Sam Bass with SOS International. He manages the Mission Partner Environment Engineering Services team for USINDOPACOM. And he's here to talk to you about the INDOPACOM's multi-enclave environment. Please join me in welcoming Mr. Bass to the podium.
All right, well, everyone should take an individual table by themselves so we get an even spread. All right, so before I get started, besides the folks that work with me, who's used a MEC before? A couple of you. Who's used Centrix? Sunny, I know you have. Okay. So we're going to talk about the multi-enclave client and a little bit of background about how we do that. This is the overview, and as the introduction said, if you have questions, go ahead and shout them out, but there is a microphone in back, or you can ask at the end. But generally, how I'm going to do this is talk about what we do, who we do it for, and how we go about doing that. I'm up here alone, but I was trying to get 3 of my colleagues to sit behind me, but they're too shy, so they're down there. I'm going to point them out in a second, but I spent 25 years in the Air Force. The last assignment was in Tokyo, and I used the MEC, and I liked the MEC so much that I joined the company, and just started as the PM back in July. Steve Noel, go ahead and stand up. He is our lead engineer. So when the tough questions come up, I'm going to defer to him. He joined the team in 2017, and he's been the lead engineer for just over a year now. Mike, go ahead and stand up. He's our program support lead. He's been on the team since 2012, so one of the original cast members, and been leading the program support team over a year now. And then Vince, go ahead and stand up. He's our ops lead, so when the few of you out there have a MEC issue, if you're not getting great service, call him. But he joined the team in 2017, and he's been doing that job almost 8 months now. So, but what I wanted to point out is that they're all veterans. Many of them grew up doing this stuff in the services, but the rest of our team is over there, and y'all raise your hand that work on the MPE team. They had to be here. I obligated them to do that. So thank you for coming. I'm going to pass questions to you all too. So, go ahead and jump into it. If you don't know about Centrix, back in 2001, DIA had the vision for coalition data sharing. It became the Centrix system. In 2004, M&IS started off here in Hawaii specifically with 2 GDIT contractors, and 2010 started doing virtualization with that team, started growing, and implemented ForcePoint for the cross-domain, the multi-enclave clients, and Nutanix for the hyper-converged. The team started growing. 2018, we changed our name to the Mission Partner Environment. ES is Engineering Services, and started providing more services to more people, and we grew to where we're at now with 55 people operating at 9 locations in 3 countries: Hawaii, Korea, Japan, and Guam. How we go about doing that from a government's perspective, the contract, we fall under the MPCO, which falls under the SAF-AA as the executive agent. And our contract covers a variety of COCOMs. And we're just one of many, but we are the biggest. And we have 2 task orders that cover what we do and the support we provide. And that diagram there kind of breaks that down. We support all of the component commands of PACOM. And we report back through our ACOR, who's on the PACAF A36 staff, and then Brian Abrigo, where are you? You're out there. I got to make sure everything I'm saying is correct, otherwise he'll correct me quickly. But we have to support all of these customers, of course, and I'll talk about that here in a second. So our mission and vision, we're a bunch of veterans, so we all need a mission and vision statement. The kind of the key items why I'm pointing out there is the C4ISR perspective. That C2 integration, that's the biggest value we provide, I think, to warfighters around the area. The theater requires reach back and force deployment from across the globe into the theater, specifically Japan and Korea. So all of that is vital to what we do and how we go about doing it. And the vision, the second chunk there, we provide that flexible solution by the professionals that you see out there in the audience. The bottom line down there is we provide this desktop as a service solution. And I'll talk about how we go about doing that. The team in the middle there in the gold boxes, three main efforts there with the engineering, ops, and program support. We have the 55 people broken down into our enterprise service desk, cyber, net ops, and sysops. And we get some support from our DISA counterparts for the infrastructure and cyber security support. And of course, back up at the top, reporting to our government masters. This is a representation of where we fit. And if I could start at the bottom, and I'll point to this screen since everybody's on this side. Down at the bottom are our partner nations. They're the coalition providers, and they connect directly to that next tier, the commands and agencies. You'll see USFK, USFJ, Pegasus for Five Eyes, CMFP. And then there's a couple other external providers that we deliver on the MEC. So this is us in the gold box. We take those enclaves, we provide our own VDI stacks for all of those enclaves and synchronize what the regional providers do with some of the C2 integration efforts, namely the AOCs, Korea and the Huron-Hickam. And everything that we provide is delivered in that infrastructure over the MECs, and we provide them around half the globe, basically, from Virginia all the way out to Singapore. So we'll kind of drill a little bit deeper into that. So the virtual services we provide, starting with that coalition desktop, the initial focus, as I showed you in one of the early slides, was that AOC. So that C2 integration, getting that platform out to the AOC warfighters, and then it just started growing beyond that throughout the Pacific Theater and beyond. From the warfighter perspective, they get this zero maintenance box on their desk that delivers all of these services. So from all of us that were prior military, having that computer on all the time, getting patches and updates is a real pain, especially if you're only using it a couple times a year for an exercise or a coalition event. So this is the true the benefit of what we deliver to the warfighter. It's nothing that they have to worry about once we deliver it. And then from the component command perspective, they're able to provide these in a multiple of environments for their warfighters out in the field, whether they're in an office with a secure facility or if they're out on the tactical edge. And I'll kind of talk more about that in a second. If you look at it from a cloud perspective, we are the private cloud provider, provide that virtual desktop all the way out to the warfighter. They get their Office and C2 apps. They get them all integrated with their respective theaters' C2 data. And from our perspective, we're providing all of the back-end infrastructure, pushing out the desktop from our enclaves and the other partner enclaves that you saw in that three-tier diagram. And basically, what we do is able to be projected around the globe through customer service points. These are the presentation of the services. The core services, of course, is getting the apps and basic desktop services anyone would expect. But then the bottom band there is all of the C2 services. And they're available across the board in all the enclaves we provide. So that's the key point of this product is that C2 integration. being able to get all this stuff that's in sync with the theater that this action is happening in, whether they're sitting in DC or Transcom coordinating airlift, all the way out to the tactical edge. More of the flexibility options, the transport, we do have some standard and non-standard solutions, and we're able to connect wherever the warfighter needs it, whatever solution they have on their premises. And our standard is at the top. I'll show you another slide here in a minute about this is CMNT. Being able to work a black cord solution is our preferred, and we can do that with CSFC using a terrestrial fiber cable. But we also have a SATCOM solution in the works, tested it out a few times, and that's going to give us some additional resiliency. And then we're able to do the non-standard stuff too, given enough time and resources. The SIPR, gate, sonnet, depending on the warfighter. Drilling in a little bit on CSFC. Very flexible solution from our perspective. We're able to update a lot of the encryption that's needed remotely. Avoids a lot of the rekeying and other issues you might have with TAC lanes. But it provides a little bit more flexibility for the warfighter. More work on the back end, of course, to support it, but a great solution overall. The delivery itself, once we virtualize the desktop, we can provide it over the MEC, the multi-enclave client, or we can do a single level infrastructure where they just get a 0 client and one specific enclave. And that's kind of what the breakout here is. The top shows that the multi-enclave client provides all those multiple enclaves on one device versus a single enclave. Possibly some more capabilities on the single level. You'll see the printers, the VoIPs and video VoIPs, VTC capabilities, but we're in the process of doing a lot more capability as our vendor partners catch up with some of the technology. Right now we've got soft VoIPs integrated on the MEC and recently tested some great desktop VTC capability. Print solution, being able to do print from multiple enclaves to a single printer is in high demand for a lot of folks, including us, because it makes it a lot easier to deliver service. But that's coming shortly, again, with vendor partnerships. So drilling in, that 0 client architecture is represented here. It provides access to one single enclave represented here with Korea. But again, you get the desktop, you get the phones and the printers. Still, it's a 0 maintenance device for the user. As long as the infrastructure is good, they get the device, turn it on, log in, and able to use that infrastructure to reach back wherever they are. This kind of looks at how we do that, from the enterprise perspective. Each of the enclaves are on the far left side on a VDI stack, pumped out over black core. And that's great for the warfighter, but if they want the MEC, they're going to need a little bit more than that. So we bolted in the force point distribution consoles, TTC solution, and we're able to deliver multiple enclaves to include those external ones I mentioned earlier, like AOC SIPRnet, various enclaves that we can plug in over that same core infrastructure, CMNT, out to the desktop. And then, of course, the MEC provides all of those on a single pane of glass. So how we go about delivering this? From our center here, we're operating primarily out of Hickam. We have a data center there, application service center, that has multiple application service points for all of our enclaves in the MEC infrastructure. Yokota in Japan is also another data center that's starting to carry more and more of the load. Korea is coming online, and we have people mapped in on top of that to support all of that. And this is kind of broken out where we're at, the core of the force at Honolulu, and then Japan and Korea, and right now one in Guam. This is a map of plus or minus our current MEC laydown across the globe. The key things for you to notice is that, you see Alaska and Hawaii, CONUS. We have folks all over. If they need to know how to lay down forces in Korea or Japan, then of course they're going to get that MEC, and they're going to get the same desktop that someone in Korea would get. So a great solution. Same thing with all the Zero clients. They'll have one specific need for Korea or Japan enclave. The bottom left shows all of the accounts. That is the number of accounts that we currently have in our system. Largely, most of those are disabled because they're used sporadically. So, don't let the numbers mislead you. This isn't, daily use, but that is kind of the scope of who we're supporting across the theater and in other areas. This is a breakdown of who we are providing these services for. And of course, PACOM, the headquarters there, followed by PACAF. A lot of the effort is into supporting PACAF. That's where the team started and where most of our money comes from, and I'll show you that in a minute too. USIRPAC right behind them. Renee, where are you at? There she is. She's always adding more and delivering MECs out to the warfighter wherever the USIRPAC warfighters need them. And then, of course, PAC Fleet, MAR4 PAC, and the bottom one is kind of a catch-all for all of the miscellaneous partners that need our services. So how do we go about getting that? Well, the customers that are using the product are using our services in effect like a fee-for-service cost model, kind of like DISA in that regard, but it's purely something that we have developed over time. Depending on the load and how much we're able to support as far as, rapid installs for exercises, et cetera. I kind of broke down the funding. It might be hard to read from the back of this room, but of course PACAF is using most of our stuff, so we charge them the most. The other component commands are definitely chipping in and keeping everything going. Exercise support, again, as that C2 integrator, the exercise is where all of this stuff is actually tested with our coalition partners. And the results of that are all because of what this team over in the side does. We're tasked in the task orders to support those major theater exercises and contingencies and then demonstrate for the military as needed. Some of the recurring exercises are the big ones, and those are listed there: Keen Edge and Sword in Japan, PAC Sentry, RIMPAC, Talisman, Saber. So it keeps our team really busy in sporadic waves. Our most recent exercise that really tested the limits of our capabilities was PAC Sentry 19.3. USIRPAC was going through a JTF certification, and we were able to provide all of the services they needed on one of our enclaves. But a great effort was behind that support, and the results of that, we set records on our capacity being able to deliver that around the theater. 960 concurrent users at one time on that single enclave with the MECs, multiple additions like the Cisco meetings and conferences, phone calls, and Skype. So it was a great demonstration, of course, just like we were tasked to do, but that always results in more people seeing what we're able to provide and additional requirements coming into the program. And that kind of drives where we're sitting with how we deliver service. Our orders come from PACOM and from the National Defense Strategy of being able to provide that coalition enhancing desktop is right up that alley of strengthening allies and attracting new partners. Of course, interoperability is a top priority. This solution does that, although we rely on support from the second tier regional providers, Korea and Japan. But what we are able to project around the globe is right up what PACOM needs us to do. Their goal, giving the flexible C2 service, stated a while ago to go for 12,000. That was basically all the command centers in PACOM plus some. So that's kind of a metric that we're kind of shooting towards, trying to build capacity to provide that support for. And we're doing that using a requirements-driven process because we can't just go out and start installing everything at once. We have to be able to map it into our capacity and deliver that. And the way we go about doing that is kind of breaking it down, again, by looking at who's requesting them and how much, what capacity issues we might have, what enclaves. But the dark portions of each bar for, PACOM, PACAF, USERPAC, PACFleet, that's what we actually have in the system. And the top half, lighter portions, are what's required or requested. And, we're right up there to that 12,000. That's currently in our database of what the warfighting customer needs us to deliver. So pending the ability for us to go out there and connect up the infrastructure and put the MECs on our back end support, this is what we're facing as far as meeting that customer demand. So in summary, we're providing this service that enables PACOM to project that coalition interoperability and the C2 data sharing capability around the theater and beyond. Our borders don't stop just in PACOM because people that are supporting the region, they'll be operating anywhere in the globe. So, and then the three main chunks here, we got the VDI, we got the hyperconverged, and we got CSFC. That's our lead engineer recently heard at a conference that was like the holy trinity of the service delivery model. So we're doing that on a daily basis, and being able to do that from Hawaii, anywhere in the world, requires a lot of teamwork with industry and our government partners from the governance and the policy perspective. So at that point, I'd like to just kind of highlight that and then kind of turn it over for questions. I know we've got people from various sectors, government and industry. And if you have questions or concerns, I can defer those to my team who's ready to answer, but anyone have any questions? We got the room another half hour, so we're, yes, sir. In naval ships? So we would like to do that. Of course, the bandwidth issue is a concern. Guys, you've tested those before, shipboard installs. Anyone, Mike or Steve? Okay, we can talk with you after about that. Yeah, anytime we're talking over a reduced bandwidth, that is for a VDI environment, the latency is an issue, and depending on where the ship is and what kind of coverage, it's always an issue. But yeah, Steve can talk with you afterwards about that. Any other questions? Yes. So there's a couple options. So yeah, we're looking at that not only for ships, but that assured C2 that PACAF is working. Getting that into the tactical edge over a SATCOM. Anytime you do a SAT shot, you're always adding that latency. So depending on where we're at and how heavy of a footprint we can have, if we could have local infrastructure there, kind of replicate the desktop, and then only communicate the data as it's being transferred, that's an option. But yeah, so right now, our model is the VDI delivery, but we know that the warfighter needs that out on the tactical edge, and that's a bit more complex. Yeah. Yeah, we fielded the same question with aircraft. We can't have, a guaranteed connectivity all the time with an aircraft, so there has to be some desktop, local processing available, which is hard. Right, exactly. That's Eric Lamoth. He's another one of our key engineers, so he's not just some dude. All right, any other questions? You guys are going to get a refund on your registration cost, I think, so. All right, last chance. Anyone but my team asking questions? Okay, all right, well, appreciate your time, and thank you very much.
So thank you all for being here. Mr. Bass, thank you for your time. As a sign of appreciation, AFCEA will make a donation to the Toys for Tots Foundation. Additionally, the AFCEA Hawaii has a coin for you from the chapter and the event.
Thank you very much.
So we'll take a quick break since we have a moment before our next session begins at 4 o'clock with Malcolm Arist talking about international standards. So please stick around. I'm sure Sam and the team would be happy to chat with you here on the side if you'd like to ask them some questions in the meantime. Thank you.